Hello, and welcome to the Monday Map, Friday Wrap Foundational Concepts video. This video is to walk you through the written version of the foundational concepts. And whatever way is best for you, video, reading, listening, I want you to try to think about yourself as you read through the foundational concepts, because the more you can wrap your head around these concepts, especially like where you are with them, the more successful you will be in making progress with the application of Monday Map, Friday Wrap. So let's dig in. Now, at Velocity Work, our aim is to help you accelerate your firm's progress and growth, ultimately increasing time and financial freedom for both your firm and your personal life. We abide by three key principles to achieve success. Number one, knowing what you're aiming for, exactly what you're lining yourself up with. Two, making a strong, smart, well thought out, deliberate plan. And three, honoring that plan. Focusing on these important factors sets us apart as a company, and it helps law firm owners like you make progress and keep moving forward. To effectively implement these three crucial factors, we work with law firm owners to apply them from two distinct angles: the macro application and the micro application. The macro application is where we facilitate annual and quarterly planning to ensure your goals and objectives are in line with your firm's longer-term vision. Now, to fully unlock the benefits of this approach and to revolutionize your law firm's trajectory, consider joining Mastery Group or becoming a private client. Now let's talk about the micro application. In the micro application, we zoom in on the upcoming weeks, helping you align your short-term actions with your broader goals to maximize productivity and efficiency. As a part of the micro approach, we introduce one of our most powerful tools to our clients, the Monday Map, Friday Wrap process. This game-changing weekly routine puts you in the driver's seat of your time and results, allowing you to accomplish more with less time and greater ease. The Monday Map, Friday Wrap process typically takes about an hour a week to implement, but it yields incredible results. On average, our clients save a full day each week by practicing this method. And that's an extra 8 hours every week. And the best part is that often these hours hold, meaning the time you get back is not just a one-time gain, it's a recurring benefit week over week, so you can focus on and continue to focus on the things that matter most to you and your firm. Now, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to reclaim more valuable time to achieve greater success? Okay, so by embracing the Monday Map, Friday Wrap process, you will be well on your way to transforming your law firm and, as dramatic as it sounds, your life. Now let's talk about planning your time. Just generally speaking, effective planning is crucial for any area of life, whether it's personal or professional. Thoughtful planning can help you stay organized, focused, and on track, ultimately leading you to greater productivity and success and fulfillment. Now, time is your currency. The way you allocate the minutes of your day is of paramount importance. Each minute contributes to the hours that make up your day. In turn, these hours construct your days, which become weeks and months and eventually years. We can't control time, but we can control how we use it, making the most of every minute by being intentional. When it comes to planning your time, the stakes are high. Time is a scarce commodity, and once it's gone for good. Strategically planning your time isn't just about completing tasks. It's about aligning your actions with your long-term goals. Without effective time management, opportunities are missed, productivity declines, and progress towards your goals is hindered. With effective time management, you can dedicate enough time to the activities that matter most and move you towards your goals with greater ease and success. To maximize the time you have, plan strategically, setting clear goals and deadlines, breaking down larger tasks into smaller steps, and creating a schedule that allows for flexibility and unexpected events. This can all help you make the most of your limited time. The Monday Map, Friday Wrap process will not only help you achieve your goals, it will also have a positive impact on your overall well-being. By managing your time well, you reduce stress, you increase feelings of control and confidence, and you have more time for yourself. Now, let's just chat for a second about the topic of downtime. As a law firm owner, there will be times when you feel the need to push harder and to work longer than usual. That's part of being a business owner. And especially for you during critical phases, like if you're launching a new practice area, if you're growing a new client base, you have a brand new hire that's important, you are preparing for trial. And in these types of situations, it may be necessary to devote more time and energy to your work in order to achieve your goals. But even during these busy phases, it is crucial to make time for rest and rejuvenation. Burnout and exhaustion can lead to decreased productivity, creativity, and negative physical and mental health consequences. And so that's why incorporating downtime into your schedule is essential for long-term success. Just like athletes need rest and recovery periods to perform at their very best, owners need downtime to recharge and maintain peak performance. It's essential to recognize that downtime doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing nothing, but it can. But it can involve things like engaging in leisure activities, spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, taking care of your physical and mental health through exercise, meditation, therapy. Now, once you've planned your time effectively and aligned your actions with the long-term goals, your next step is to actually honor that plan by staying focused on the tasks that matter most and avoiding distractions. The significance of honoring your plan cannot be understated. It is not enough to simply make a great plan. It's equally important to follow through on that plan. This involves dedicating the necessary time and energy to your most important tasks and avoiding distractions or other tasks that are not aligned with your goals. When you consistently honor your plan, you build momentum and you make steady progress towards your goals. And this progress can be incredibly motivating. It helps you stay on track, even when things are tough. Now, on the other hand, if you fail to honor your plan, you risk losing momentum and you miss out on valuable opportunities for growth and success. Procrastination, distraction, poor time management, these can all lead to missed deadlines and decreased productivity and a lack of progress towards your goals. Now, for example, let's say you've designated 11 a.m. on a Tuesday as the time to focus on an important priority for your business. However, when the time comes, you neglect your plan, and instead you get caught up in checking emails or attending to minor tasks. This seemingly small lapse in honoring your plan can have a ripple effect. And by failing to prioritize and focus on that important task, you may miss out on a valuable opportunity for growth or delay the progress of a project that would have otherwise propelled your business forward. Over time, these missed opportunities and delays add up, potentially stunting your business's growth and your personal success. By not honoring your plan, you inadvertently sacrifice the long-term goals that you set for yourself and for your business, all because of poor planning habits in the short term. Monday Map, Friday Wrap is specifically designed to counteract poor habits and transform how you operate, setting you up for both success in both your personal and professional life. Now, by implementing the Monday Map process, you take a proactive approach to planning and time management, ensuring that your priorities are clearly defined and aligned with your long-term goals. Okay, so now let's talk about the relationship between your brain and productivity. Unfortunately, many people fall into the trap of thinking that the key to productivity is simply cranking out more work. They push themselves harder and harder, counting on sheer effort to lead to better results. But this approach of focusing on output for output's sake ultimately is counterproductive, and it leads to burnout, decreased motivation, and worse performance. Instead, the key to true productivity lies in focusing on the precursors to output, understanding how our brain works and using that knowledge to create significant change in our productivity. Our brain is the ultimate productivity tool, and learning how to optimize it can help us achieve our goals and live a more fulfilling life. One aspect of the brain that has a significant impact on productivity is the ability to delay gratification. This skill involves resisting the temptation of immediate pleasures in order to receive greater rewards in the future. But then there's instant gratification. Instant gratification is a common default setting of our brains. We are wired to seek immediate satisfaction, avoid discomfort, and conserve energy. We are instinctively inclined to give in to the urge of now. The more repeatedly that we give in to immediate gratification, the more likely we are to be derailed from longer term, more meaningful goals. Now, none of this really matters if you don't aspire to create remarkable results for yourself, but you do aspire to create remarkable results for yourself. You would not be reading this or watching this if you didn't. So let's talk more about delayed gratification. Delayed gratification refers to the act of postponing immediate satisfaction in order to prioritize long-term rewards or more meaningful outcomes. To cultivate delayed gratification, we must strengthen resilience to our brain's impulses and instead focus on the bigger picture. This necessitates an override of what our brain wants in any given moment. You must train your brain to take this unnatural course of action. And that unnatural course of action is pursue delayed gratification, move towards discomfort, and put the effort in. Many scientific studies prove that delayed gratification is among the most effective personal traits of professionally successful people. And while delayed gratification can be challenging to master, the rewards are immense. The ability to forego the immediate satisfaction in favor of a larger, more significant reward down the line is a skill that many of us find challenging to cultivate. So this begs the question, what underlying quality or characteristic allows a person to consistently practice delayed gratification? Ultimately, it's self-discipline. Most people have a warped understanding of self-discipline. It is not willpower. Willpower looks like self-discipline, but it's the knockoff version. And self-discipline is not about being rigid or having an internal drill sergeant. It's more sophisticated than that. Self-discipline involves overriding the brain's natural desire for immediate gratification. And this requires engaging and strengthening the brain's prefrontal cortex right here. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for executive functioning. And that includes things like decision-making, planning, impulse control. When we engage in self-discipline, we are essentially training our prefrontal cortex to override the brain's natural reward pathways. And when we avoid self-discipline, we reinforce those default reward pathways. And that makes it more difficult to engage in self-discipline in the future. This is a losing loop. So the more often you delay gratification, the more you strengthen your prefrontal cortex, and the more you're able to withstand the urge to give in to immediate satisfaction or immediate pleasure or immediate relief. So let's talk about developing self-discipline. Developing self-discipline is a key component of increasing productivity and achieving success. Self-discipline can be defined as the ability to control one's behavior, emotions, and thoughts in order to achieve a specific goal or set of goals. It's a skill that can be learned and developed over time with consistent practice and effort. In this section, we will explore some effective strategies for developing self-discipline. The first is to set clear goals. This goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning with you have to know what you're aiming for. One of the most important steps in developing self-discipline is to set clear, specific goals, because without a clear goal, it is easy to become distracted, to lose motivation. And when setting goals, it's important to make them really specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, SMART goals. So for example, instead of setting a goal to exercise more, a SMART goal would be go to the gym for 30 minutes 3 times per week for the next 4 weeks. That's specific. That's measurable. achievable, relevant, and time bound. So any objective you're going for needs specificity. The second thing is to avoid procrastination. Now, procrastination is a really common challenge that can derail productivity. It can prevent us from achieving our goals. One effective way to avoid procrastination is to break larger tasks down into smaller, more manageable tasks. This makes the task feel less overwhelming. It makes it feel more achievable. It gets your brain on board with being able to jump in because it can see exactly what it's supposed to do, the step it's supposed to take. Another strategy is to set deadlines for completing the tasks that you have. That creates some accountability and puts you up against an edge. Also, eliminating distractions such as social media, email, notifications during the periods you're supposed to be focused really help to reduce temptation to procrastinate and pull you away from what you're supposed to be focused on. The next thing is to be able to focus on one task at a time. Multitasking is often seen as a desirable skill, but research has shown it can actually reduce productivity and it can increase stress. So instead of trying to juggle multiple tasks at once, focus on one task at a time. This allows for better concentration. It can ultimately lead to more efficient use of time. So implementing some of these strategies or thinking about these and your relationship to these strategies can tee you up nicely to help you more easily, it's not easy, to develop the self-discipline necessary so that you can overcome the productivity challenges and be able to achieve your goals. Now, remember, self-discipline is a skill. It requires consistent practice and effort, but the benefits are well worth it. Now let's talk about the difference between procrastination and laziness. Laziness is often seen as a negative quality, with many people using that word to critically describe themselves. However, it's important to understand that laziness is simply the quality of being unwilling to work or use energy. It's not the same thing as procrastination, which is the act of delaying or pushing it off or postponing. That's not laziness. Procrastination can be a result of a lot of different factors: anxiety, fear of failure, lack of motivation. So developing self-discipline is a key factor in overcoming procrastination and becoming more productive overall. Now, this involves learning to tune out distractions, stay focused on your goals, the long-term goals, and endure discomfort or resistance when necessary. And that's an important statement we're going to get into later. Endure discomfort or resistance when necessary. The kind of people who are drawn to me in velocity work are not lazy people. That's never the case. In my observation, the only time people in my world, including me at times, objectively exemplify laziness is when they understand the concepts to cultivate more self-discipline, but they don't do the uncomfortable work to get better at it. This is the thing that matters the most. And if this all feels too abstract at the moment to wrap your head around, don't worry, because it's going to click. Once you start to apply Monday Map, Friday Wrap process, you'll bump into this and you'll start to really understand what I'm saying. Now, remember, if you don't feel like doing something and you do it anyway, you have defeated laziness. Let me say that again. If you don't feel like doing something and you do it anyway, you have defeated laziness in that instance. And the more times you defeat laziness, the less times you have to overcome it. Your default brain will literally start to give up, and your prefrontal cortex begins to be in charge more of the time. There's a quote by Jerry Seinfeld that is just very Jerry Seinfeld, very comedian-esque, but it felt kind of fitting here. The mind is infinite in wisdom. The brain is a stupid little dog that is easily trained. Do not confuse the mind with the brain. And I share this because as we're getting ready to get into the section that kind of gets more into this, but you could think about your prefrontal cortex should be in charge of this default brain. And if you think about your brain as a little dog that just needs to be trained, sometimes that can help. Like there's a part that's going to train the dog. Thought that was funny. All right, now we're going to talk about understanding your brain's reward systems. This is getting deeper into this. Stay with me here because this information is truly will help you and change the game when you go to apply Monday Map Friday Wrap. The brain has a reward system that is responsible for motivating us to seek out things that bring us pleasure or relief. Now, this system is activated by dopamine, a neurotransmitter, and that is released in response to rewarding experiences that provide relief and pleasure. In short, we are wired to continue behaviors that trigger the release of dopamine. Understanding the mechanics of our brain's reward system can offer insight into how we can develop the self-discipline necessary to delay gratification. The reward system is composed of 3 components: the trigger, the behavior, and the reward. And then dopamine is released. It's the 4th thing that happens. Consider how these components work together when we give in to instant gratification. This is what it would look like. The trigger would be some form of discomfort, dread, resistance, temptation, frustration, anxiety. And I want you to think about, an instance where you sit down, you're supposed to sit down to work on something for your business. And there's other things that feel like it's pulling at you, but you made a plan to do this because it felt important, right? So you sit down to do this. And there's an urge to focus somewhere else. This urge is caused because of discomfort. It's caused to escape or get relief from the discomfort. So the trigger is the discomfort in whatever form that takes for you. So anytime you deal with something unpleasant or challenging, you're going to experience discomfort. So now let's go to the behavior, which is the second thing. The behavior exhibited when you actually give in to instant gratification is that you abandon your plan. You abandon the effort. And this is answering the urge. Okay, so you have some discomfort, that's a trigger, and the behavior is you go over here. Now, the reward for that, because this is a reward system, this is how your lower brain works. The reward for that is relief. It is a feeling of lessening or removal of pain, distress, anxiety, difficulty. It's a sense of comfort, freedom from a burden, from something unpleasant or challenging. And when that happens, the next step is that dopamine is released. So you can see how this reward system works. And dopamine is a really powerful neurotransmitter. It's a feel-good chemical. Okay, but here's the thing. Repeatedly indulging in instant gratification can have a detrimental impact on the brain's dopamine reward system, where just giving into the urge, like the behavior, that's the behavior of urge of immediate satisfaction, the reward system is triggered right then, releasing a dopamine before you even receive the reward. So here's what that would look like. And this is when we are in habit of giving into instant gratification in using this instance when it comes to doing the work that we don't want to do. And so I played that out for you with the reward system as it should function. But if you do that all the time and it's this repeated thing, your brain gets so good at it, it starts to get ahead of the game. So then you have the trigger, which is the same trigger. You have a feeling of discomfort, right? Something is uncomfortable. Now, and because of that, you have an urge to go away from it. So the behavior is to abandon your effort, right? This means you're answering the urge. Now, after you answer the urge, after you exhibit the behavior, the dopamine is released. Then you experience the reward of relief. So the dopamine just injects itself earlier, meaning in the process. So the dopamine is released earlier in the process, and dopamine is a powerful neurotransmitter. So this kind of gets you hooked on this loop because you answer the urge, boom, you get a hit of dopamine, and then you'll have a feeling of relief, just as you would have in the first one. But usually dopamine should be released after you experience the reward. So okay, I hope you can see the problem here. This understanding that this is what happens for people who tend to give into immediate satisfaction or gratification, who answer urges to not do the uncomfortable thing. And if you are someone who cannot stay on task with the stuff. You're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, but then you get sidetracked from it and you do other things. If you were more intentional, you would be more successful with it. But chances are it's going to be a learning curve for you because you are so used to exiting stage left every time you feel this discomfort, you move, then you're going to have to start to sit through that to reshape this and get this back to the functioning, to get your prefrontal cortex back in charge, for it to say what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, not to allow your brain to react to the discomfort. So the whole reason I wanted to share this with you is because this anticipatory dopamine release, it can lead to chronic rash decision-making in the short term. And that can have significant long-term effects on your goals and your well-being. Now, understanding this gives you the power to actually take control, because if you understand it, then you can deal with it and work with it. So let's talk about now how to trade instant gratification for delayed gratification. Now, one of the first things that you can do is to pause. When you feel the urge to go do something different, you can pause. And I call this the prefrontal pause. To develop self-discipline, it is important to deal with the feelings of discomfort, dread, temptation, resistance, frustration. And so when you face an urge to avoid a task, try saying stop out loud to interrupt your brain's natural desire for immediate gratification. This pause gives space to breathe, and it allows the discomfort to rise so that you can fully process that emotion and then move forward with the intended course of action. Allowing an emotion to arise and be fully felt is an important aspect of dissipating the emotion, because it allows the emotion to run its natural course instead of you just fleeing it and it all goes away. You just have relief from it. You don't want to get relief from it. You want to process it. This may be the hardest part of the process, but it is a key part in developing emotional resilience and cultivating self-discipline. If you feel like giving up on your plan, pause and ask yourself, like take this prefrontal pause and ask yourself some questions. What is the feeling state I'm experiencing that makes it hard to stick with my plan? Name the feeling state: urgency, fatigue, panic, resistance, dread, frustration. Name it. That's important to name it. What are the long-term consequences of giving into this urge? Really play it all the way to the end. How is this going to affect my future goals and my future well-being? Third question, is there a healthier or more productive way to address the discomfort or negative emotions I'm experiencing than to just exit stage left? Fourth question, how can I break down this task into smaller, more manageable steps that make it less overwhelming? Maybe that just fixes it. How can I reframe my mindset to view discomfort as necessary and a valuable part of the growth process? Who can I reach out to for support or accountability in sticking to my plan? Do I choose to embrace the suck now, or have it descend upon me later in the form of disappointment, regret, and discouragement and frustration when I didn't create the results that I said that I would? And I hope that makes sense. I'm going to talk about that more as we go on, but you can't get away from the discomfort. You're not ever going to get away from discomfort. People try to, so they abandon effort so they feel relief and they don't have to deal with the discomfort. They're going to deal with it later when they're pissed that they didn't do what they said they were going to do, right? What questions would you add here? You need to think about that through for yourself and have some on hand that you can ask yourself when you actually take a pause. Now, this kind of training is what changes your brain. It is what reshapes the dopamine reward system. And so it's about learning to experience urges detrimental to your best long-term interest without giving into the urge. Let me say that again. It's about learning to experience the urge fully that will take you away from the thing that you're supposed to do without giving into the urge and fleeing. And you have to do this time and time and time and time again. It is a practice, but the more you practice it, remember earlier we were talking about, if you defeat laziness in an instance, then you win, right? And the more times you stack up the defeat of laziness, which that's what we call it, but it's really just escaping. The more that you do that, the more you win. In every instance that you win, you are stacking up and training your brain in a way that means you are developing the skill that's required to be the kind of person that just honors your freaking plan. Okay, so we're going to talk more now about embracing discomfort. I think it's very clear now that embracing the discomfort is the key. So when faced with the urge to abandon your plan, negative emotions are going to arise. This is natural, as discomfort often accompanies new or challenging tasks. But by remaining committed to the task anyway, you experience the negative emotions on the front end, and then you experience them, and then you stay committed to the task. On the other hand, giving in to the urge to abandon your plan may provide temporary relief, but the negative emotions will resurface on the back end in the form of regret, guilt, and self-criticism. So simply put, there is no way of avoiding the discomfort. And it is better to face it head on and have something to show for it in the end, instead of dealing with the discomfort on the back end and have nothing to show for it. I think you can probably see why my favorite quote is, "Discomfort is the currency for your dreams." And that was said by my friend, Brooke Castillo. That has propelled me forward and been so useful in my journey and in the journey of my clients. So I'm offering that to you here to keep top of mind. Discomfort is the currency for your dreams. All right. So in summary, by understanding the foundational concepts of productivity, time management, how your brain works, you can gain insight into your own behavioral patterns and make deliberate choices about how you spend your time. The Monday Map process is an effective tool for developing self-discipline and a deeper understanding of yourself. And that ultimately leads to greater freedom of time and money. With a clear sense of purpose, knowing where you're going, and a commitment to following through on your plans, you can achieve your goals and get to what you want to get to and live that fulfilling life. Success on your terms. So now you are armed with the right understanding to effectively begin implementing Monday Map. So turn to the Monday Map Friday Wrap process outline, the playbook, and let's dig in there.